there, YouTube. I'm Kelley. Thanks for coming by. Welcome to Block 1 of the community theme Round Robin Quilt. I'll show you what it looks like and then I will explain. Let's dive into it. For this birdhouse block, in the center of this big block, you will have to go to see Brenda's video at Conquering Mount Scrapmore, and I will link that in the description box. The next border is the Floating Diamonds border, and for that you will have to go to FutureCat's channel, and I will also link that in the description box. My part of this block is this piano key style border, and I am going to explain how I do that. Now, the pattern for all of these parts will be linked in everyone's video. So in the description box of my video, you can get my pattern for doing the piano key border. You will have to see the other channels for the other patterns. But I have a big disclaimer about it. When you go to the link for this pattern that I have in the description box, you will find the pattern is for accurate piecing, and it gives you a dimension to cut this particular piece, which is piece C in my border. And the instructions will tell you to cut a 4-inch by 3.5-inch rectangle. My piecing is not that accurate, so I make my blocks bigger. So this piece is 3.5 by 4.5. And I'm going to make my entire border bigger, and then I'm going to trim it to the size it is supposed to be. So my explanation will be for my way of bigger. The actual pattern that you download will be for the perfect, accurate piecing. Hope that makes sense. You can ask me questions in the comments. Before I show you how to do the border, I want to show you this block. This is the first one I did. It has a bluebird house, and I messed it up. So that's why around the edge you can see the bit of green border. That is going to be almost gone by the time I sew the blocks together, but if I didn't do that, my block would not have been big enough, and I didn't want to remake the whole thing, so I just made it bigger and trimmed it to be the right size. So yes, you'll see a little bit of green border once it gets sewn together, but this is my quilt and I don't care. And here's the last block that I'm going to show you how to do my border on. You may have noticed that my borders are not all exactly the same. That first block with the bluebird house had black in all the sides. The one with the pink birdhouse had black and pink. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with this one. I'll just lay it out quickly. Cornerstone like that. The next one is always this blue. Like so. Here, let's scoot that over a wee bit more. And then I'm going to do one of these, if I can get them apart, there we go, with the little flowers on it, like that. And then we have the white roses, and then another black, and then another cornerstone. Cute, right? So, 2 of my borders on either side are going to be like that. The other 2 borders, I'm not using that. I'm using this green. Oops, I forgot a blue one. There we go, that looks better. There. So 2 of my borders are going to look like this, with green, and 2 of my borders are going to look the other way, with black. I have my borders laid out to sew. I apologize for the background noise of the fan. I had to close the window because our neighbors across the back are getting work done, and there's some large machinery back there. So I will sew 2 borders together like this. Sew the green onto the white that way, and then the blue onto the ends. And then the other 2 will be done with the cornerstones, same fashion, and then I'll sew them on to the rest of the block. I'm just going slow here. This little machine is pretty cool. But the pedal's kind of sensitive. So I have to be careful. I'm lined up here on my tape. Just going fairly slowly, making sure I'm good. Keep it lined up. Come on. Whoops. See what I mean? That's better. Okay, there's the pin out of there. Wait. And just go carefully to the end. Put this back in. My friend told me this machine likes a little bit of a leader ender here. It gets a bit snaggy if it doesn't have that, so I'm just going to put that in there like that. And trim it off, and then we'll go and do the other side. Let's get down the end of here, and do the same thing this way. Okay, let's just get this going a bit. There. Okay, I'm not going to film this, you guys get the idea. I have two borders sewn on the yellow birdhouse block now. And because I made my borders bigger than actual size, because my accuracy is not so hot, I'm going to trim this to 20.5 inches. Now, what I have done is taken my big ruler, and there's a middle seam right here on the yellow diamond. That is where I'm lining up 10.25 inches, right there. I also have this border seam lined up there. I have this border seam lined up here, this border seam straight and lined up here, and the little green border seam up here is pretty straight too. So that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to cut this, double check one more time, 10.25. 10.25 makes 20.5 all the way. So I'm going to cut off this far side here. I hope you can see this. I tried to get the, here, let me see if I can tilt it up a smidge. I tried to get all the, there, let's try that. It's difficult to get the whole ruler in because it's really big. I'm just going to hold that there so it doesn't jiggle around. And we're just going to trim that off. Way. And if we now line up this edge on 20.5 and make sure everything else is lined up too. That's pretty good there. That's pretty good there. Oh. And yep. Oh, excuse me, sorry about that. And that one is pretty good along that line right there. Okay, this one is slightly off at the very top, but it's so close that it doesn't matter. There, okay. Now I'm going to trim the other way, and then top to bottom, this block will be 20.5 inches. I will sew the other borders on and trim them as required. I have one of the other borders on pinned, ready to sew. The most important part is this seam right here, where the cornerstones are. So when I sewed on the first border, I pressed it toward the block. It just fits with the other border. I didn't want too much bulk pressing it toward this. So therefore, when I did these borders, I pressed it toward the green square. So this one's going this way, and this one's going that way, and they will nest. The rest of it I just did pinning so that it would not jiggle around. And there we go, all finished. So I now have 3 block number 1s completed. Thank you very much for watching my video.